Do any of you have any requests to add or delete from the agenda?
Maybe, put a fine when the chairman shows up.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, that's part of policing yourselves.
We'll just keep it in the staff.
Okay? You didn't get picked up for
Motion to
speeding
deny,
on the
I
way
guess.
here or something, did you?
No, that was the problem.
We could validate your ticket.
Maybe we'll have to maybe up those speeding limits next year.
There is a request from one of the department heads, Arlen Courtmaker, emergency manager, would like to discuss the vehicle purchase with you, if you'd be willing to add that to the agenda.
Motion to?
Yeah.
Move to add.
Well, if that's the only thing changing on the agenda.
Okay.
I don't know if I have anything. I don't have anything.
Okay.
I guess we're
Just approve
Motion
it.
to approve the agenda as amended.
removing the Will's executive session, I believe.
I'm gonna do it for him.
Sorry, didn't know. Is there a conversation about the hog barn in here? I didn't-
No.
No?
No.
Is that something you'd like to add?
No, as far as I know, he hasn't returned that.
No, I just had a phone call for me to, look at addresses, and in different locations by them, but no, there's nothing for today.
Unless you want to offer some comment.
I do. Signs, stay less here from the people that are going to be affected.
Do you want to take that now?
We just want to do,
Do
public
public
comment.
comment?
Yeah, let's approve the agenda first and then we can
Okay.
do that.
Did you get a second?
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
For Commissioner Old Business, the Downing family removed or rescinded their request to have a display on the first floor. Apparently, its success has fostered itself at the library, so they're just gonna keep that going as long as they can. Other than that, other old business relates to the highway department, so I'll have Nicole come up front and cover those two items for you.
Okay, so what did you have on here? Report on other counties contracting the mower of shoulders. So I put out an email to all the other highway superintendents. And I heard back from probably 20, 25 of them. And 24 of them have said, no, we've never done that. I heard back from Minnehaha County. They said they did it once for about 3 years. It ended up costing them about the same amount is what they came up with. They said by the time the contract was bid and all of that, that it came out to about the same amount as if they would have just paid somebody and used their own equipment. So they quit doing it. So I don't know if that will have any bearing on the direction that we want to go with that.
That was the only county that gave you
Yeah,
$1,000.
yeah.
What other ones did it?
Huh? No other ones have
That was
done
the only
it.
one that did it?
No, well, the ones that answered,
Answered.
none of the other ones had done it. But I did have our numbers on mowing. And in 2024, it cost us $76,712 to mow.
That's just county, not
That's,
without Harrison.
that's with Harrison.
With Harrison.
And then in 2022, with all the other counties or the other townships that before they had organized, it was $114,500.
And that's labor.
So that's
It's all
labor
figured into that.
and equipment and the end of year costs.
So when you figure equipment, you're figuring like depreciation or?
Rental
Just the rent-
rates
yeah,
for
I
the
guess they don't have-
tractors. Yeah, and the ones that we're leasing or owned. I know we got 2 that we're leasing, 2 that we're renting.
But I guess we own the cutting or the mowing.
We own the mowers.
Yeah.
Two that we're leasing and 2 that we own.
Yes, 2 that we're leasing and 2 that we're renting, 1 that we own.
What's the difference?
There's a difference
Leasing and
between
renting?
renting and leasing. Leasing is an option to buy at the end, and it's a 5-year
Okay, straight rental.
contract. And then the renting is just like 100 hours, 200 hours. I think that rate was $25 an hour for those rentals that we had this year.
Which tractor do we own? Is it the one with the front 3-point PTO? for the snow blower?
$61.99, yes, we are leasing that one. We are not owning that one. The one that we have is a 6330.
You're leasing another one too, because I just signed one.
That's the 2 that were made, that's the payment on the 2 John Deeres that we're leasing. That's every year in November, that's due.
That's kind of odd, because there's only one serial number on it. Yeah, and I think I signed one of those last month for about that same amount. I don't know what folder it's in.
Well, I guess we'll have to look into that, but no, that is the one payment that we should be making about October, so it's in by November when it's due. And it's about 52,000?
52 or 53, something.
53, yeah. Yep, that's what it should be. That's one of our debt service payments.
That's what take care of both of them.
It was, yes.
You might want to check that, because there was only
I
one
guess we'll
serial.
double
And I think
check.
I think I signed one last month, a warrant for about that same amount, so that might be Cure Tractor.
No, that shouldn't be, and I think we would notice, but I'll look into it.
Well, all I know is there was just one serial number, so. I think
Okay.
it's a payment.
Yeah, well, I'll look, maybe I'll dig through the warrants and check on that. Anyway, I think the other topic, let's see here, was this surplus property to be recycled. I have a list, it's not complete. I did not bring it, but I sent you guys an email on the diagnostics on that Dodge Ram, right? Were you guys able to take a look at that? Are we good with talking about surplusing it as is?
If you want my opinion, I wouldn't fix it for that money.
That's,
That money in those miles, I wouldn't mess with it.
well, I spoke with a couple other mechanics and they said the same thing. So, that will be on my surplus list when that comes around.
So you don't have a surplus list
I
today?
don't. We have kind of
That's
a
fine.
general like pile of metal that's in a dump box back in the corner. Just kind of signs and miscellaneous junk is what it is. Yeah, just scrap metal.
I think she originally just wanted to declare surplus rather than fix it and turn that into issues.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because there's no value there. It's just an accumulation of stuff. So I didn't want to itemize anything on that. But also there is some, like the blue 88 Dodge Dakota that the second one died last year. We might as well get rid of this one. It's not running either. It hasn't been used since, well, we never used it back then even.
Yep.
So,
Get rid of it.
yeah, we got a little cleaning up we can do, but I just want to make sure with the guys, we've been hitting it pretty hard. We've been running, getting the grading done in the,
I don't think those two little Dodge Dakotas owed us anything.
they definitely, we got our money's worth out of those babies, for
They
sure.
were around forever.
Poor things. They saw some stuff. But those are the 2 topics that I believe are current. I can pass it back to Doug.
Okay, nope, that sounds good.
I would
Thank you,
suggest
Paul.
you declare that scrap iron surplus and put it
We do
to
that
Would
now, yeah.
you, I've got
So
a
moved.
picture of it if y'all want to look.
Second.
No, don't want to look.
Pick a second.
It's just an old dump truck box full of scrap.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the surplus of some scrap metal from the highway department. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The status update on the planning and zoning is whether or not there was any headway made with Eric at NECOG.
I would say that we would be hearing from him soon. Doug, Eric had a full September load. We did order for him to create our contingency plan, and I talked to him about that. He was going to get that going, so I would be hearing from him.
Okay, the next one is this 368th Avenue. Actually, it should be 188th Street between 368 and 369th. I did get a response from Assurance Surveying for $500 to either do an easement or an H lot, which is a highway lot that is common in other places apparently. I've not seen it before, but he explained it to me. So need a direction on which way you want to go there.
I see the H lots, sometimes we're looking for stuff.
That was his recommendation. was-
Highway, it's basically where the highway
Yep.
spills over. Sort of, I guess, so to speak.
That was his recommendation,
I would move
rather
it,
than each lot.
I would generate the H lot.
A second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve the, the surveying of an H lot. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
By
Oh, hold on.
doing the H block, we're not committing to it. We're just getting it
We're just getting it surveyed.
surveyed.
Any additional comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, Commissioner, new business. What I have for you is a transfer of the opioid receipts. Now, the opioid funds are part of a settlement that it took place with several of the different drug companies. You might remember in July, I think it was, July, August, somewhere in there, we had to create a fund, and this would be fund level, not funds as in money. Fund level 294 in which to make those deposits. So there was opioid money in the general fund, which amounted to $19,399.12. I'm requesting that you move it to the opioid fund, and then later in the meeting, you'll hear about a plan for that money. So that just simply requires a motion.
Move that money to the opioid fund, $19,399.12.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to transfer opioid receipts as stated by Commissioner Eschenbaum. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, the next item, if you want, we can take it now or you can move on to your other ones, but it deals with the layout of this room. I'd gotten a couple complaints. I used to get more complaints before we got this current microphone system about people not being able to hear you guys. Since we've had these, it's good. The problem is that people in the room with the air conditioner running can't hear. So some of that can be alleviated when the weather changes and we don't have the air conditioner running. But in visiting with a couple of you, the discussion was about locating a different table and maybe one where it kind of is either a crescent shape or semicircle. Just looking for feedback from you guys if you think that's agreeable to the majority of you, and if so, I'd move forward to do that.
You haven't checked in anything yet, have you?
The one in Pier, the warehouse out there, they had a sale and they sold everything, but
Gotcha.
they said check back because it's always changing.
Yeah.
I personally think the semicircle would work a lot better
Yeah.
because like there's limited room here for people.
Right.
And Dan's got limited room if he wants to get up, so.
There's a fire.
Or a
Yep.
Center section.
I couldn't get it open over the chair.
Yeah, I'd say if you keep an eye open, I'd certainly be game for that.
Okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to,
Let's, we'll do the public comment. We'll sneak that in here.
oh, okay.
Ray, you got something?
You're up.
Oh, I'm not getting up. I think everybody can hear me. So, as you know, my feeling about new hog barn going east of us. I've talked to some of the local residents that would be affected, and I have signed statements from them that they're opposed to it. So that's about all I had, is I brought these signed statements along.
These are residents that are within that 2-mile setback?
Yes, they are.
Do you want to file those with the commission?
Pardon?
Do you want to file those statements?
I did.
Do you need copies back?
I should.
Are you sure?
You're not gonna lose them.
No, but I can easily make you copies if you want
You
to
should
take.
probably make copies.
Yeah.
You should make
Yeah.
copies.
You know, I don't understand on the 2-mile circle. It's hard to see from the picture I got exactly who lives there and that. So if I could get a better definition of who's in that circle. So I'd sure like to.
Jamie, is that something you can help Ray with?
I can sure do that. I will make a statement to you,
Okay.
just so that everybody knows. I can sure give you the addresses, but I do not track who lives in a house. The only people that I know live in a home is the ones that file for owner occupancy.
And that's,
If it's a rental, I have no idea who lives in a rental.
okay.
Okay?
That's another question I have is, I had some of the local people in that 2-mile circle say, well, John Schlechter came and talked to me and I don't live here, but, you know, I have my folks' place, I come out, pheasant hunt, I don't get my mail here or anything else. And that, so, do those people qualify?
No, maybe not.
They have to be a resident, which we have a definition of resident. I think it must be at least, I can't remember what it
They
is,
have
but
to
it,
be 18 and they have to be legally able to vote and within that 2-mile
yeah.
setback.
And actually reside at that residence?
Yes, and have a resident and prove residency within that 2 miles.
All right. Well, that's all I had, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Is there any other public comment? If not, we'll close that portion. And, we on to the weed board. Weed board, yeah, looks like we need to ratify an appointment. Weed board, yes.
Well, you could have just done it right from where you were.
Unless you got a big speech prepared or something.
Well, this is pretty short. So all we got is, the weed board is asking you, the commissioners, to ratify the appointment of Clint Haig and to the weed board and accept the resignation of Chris Johnson.
So moved. Arm wrestle for it?
Thank you.
I'll second Luke's motion.
Got a motion and a second to accept the retirement, I guess, of Chris Johnson, and appoint Clint Haig in his position. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks for stepping up, Clint.
All right, Jared, I think you're up. Jared's not here. Oh, sorry. I saw Jared's name. I did saw his name on the page there. And then you,
I guess, come on, proposed as far as leasing tractors and stuff, we just want to be in the game, I guess, this next go around. That's all, just want to be in the game next time. We had the lease quotes. I guess I want to know if you guys are more interested in an hourly rate per year, you get a different tractor every year, or if you're looking for like what you have now, like a 5-year lease and just keep the same tractor around for 5 years.
Hourly is what we have for the 2 going tractors. It just makes more more sense. We've got the two leases, the one has the front 3-point that we use, the one snow blower that we have. And the rentals, they just sit all winter long in Gaywood.
Yeah.
So.
So hourly rate is what you're,
Rates for about 100, 200, 150 hours.
50 hours. Okay, well, okay, well, let me, the gal that does some of that stuff, she's out sick today, so I didn't get a final number for you today on that stuff. But if that's what you're leaning for, that's what I need to know.
Yeah, that's
Do we need any, special options or?
Right, yeah, that's the next question.
Horsepower range?
well, we talked about horsepower previously.
About 150 engine horsepower, we decided about 125 PTO horsepower. Right in that area to run the current mowers that you have now. They're all 15-foot batwing mowers, right?
A couple of them, we did.
The one's
get
10-foot, ain't it, or something?
We did get a,
Disc mower.
A disc
This one.
binder,
Okay,
yeah.
that'll still work.
3-point,
too.
yeah.
That'll work good on them. Okay. If we were to do that, we would figure out a tractor to our specs so we could get them back and move them. Where if we built one just for you guys for a 5-year deal, we would,
Build it the way we want it.
well, you would want it, maybe not quite so many options, which you guys wouldn't use, like motor ready and joysticks and all this fancy stuff, where you just want something to go up and down the road, mow. Air conditioning is probably important.
Yeah.
You know,
Does it cost extra?
what's that?
Does it cost extra?
No, not extra.
Radio, yeah.
Radio, yeah. So we don't want to make for sure, I mean, if we can come up with one both ways, just to, I can get it to you, then you can bring it up, I guess, if that's
willing to look at the, yeah.
annual or that way and see, okay. Because when we build them, to lease a tractor, I'm gonna use, well, not dumb it down, but keep it simpler. I mean, for just a mowing tractor and stuff, instead of all these fancy gadgets and all stuff, which you'll never use in a mowing environment, I guess I'm saying.
Right.
So then you're talking more money, and you can raise the price of that tractor by 50,000 with the push of a button. I mean, pretty easy, so.
Yeah, I would think that we would
If
be
we're
certainly
just
in the
gonna-
market for plain Jane stuff. I mean, we don't.
What's that?
I mean, the plain Jane tractors are pretty well what we're needing. I mean, we don't need GPS or. anything
Right,
like that.
yeah.
The rentals, they're kind of looking for something that they can sell.
Right,
Right.
if you're gonna do just so many dollars a year, then we're gonna bill it to our specs, and then
I
get so
got
many dollars an hour, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep, yep.
So we can, I'll have them like loader ready. I mean, most tractors in that will have to have the loader mounts and all that fancy stuff on there. So it's all ready to go, so.
Sorry, Luke.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
This New Holland is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Holland or Case would be the same, be pretty close, within a few dollars either way. Just locally here, it'd be a lot simpler for us, you know. Here in Miller has a New Holland tractor, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I'll get those rates to. I'll get them to
Okay.
Nicole.
Yeah. No, that'd be
Is that fine?
great.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your time, like a timeline on it? What?
The water one, we have a few in there, but we're just gonna do the rental per hour deal. Start next spring, we'll see what we have on. If you wanna order one, to lease one to your specs, I mean, it's like 5 days, and then we need to get on it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And hope like there's no more things like tariffs.
I don't know if I'd count on
You
that.
know, I'd be doing it with muddy the waters a little bit, or something, and something still down there on that side.
Okey-doke.
Where are we at on our leases on those?
Well,
Yeah.
remember, we just renewed them
Right.
last year, so this is our second payment. on that lease, 2 of 5.
Yeah.
And then we'll still owe like 200,000 at the end of the lease if we want to purchase.
And the one tractor that we got the front 3-point PTO is a year off from the other one, isn't it? Because we had one we got 2, and then we had one for just a year, and we traded it in on that lease to get that front PTO and 3-point for the snowblower. So that one is probably a year off unless they left it just 4 more years and adjusted the payment, I don't
Well,
know.
I thought we changed both of them at the same time.
Thought we did too, honestly.
I don't remember.
But I do know when we did the rentals, we ended up getting a 2024 into 2025. If that's maybe what you're thinking. I think it's the rentals. Yeah, with the rentals, we got it 2024 and 2025. So that kind of threw us a little bit when that happened.
Okay, well, thanks, Damon. Nicole, you're up.
Continuing on with the fun. All right, hey, this month we have financial reports. Yay. Our cash balance is estimated to be sitting about 1.1 million right now. We paid for our oil and they're shutting it down for the season, so we shouldn't have that expense after this billing season. I guess I feel like we're sitting pretty comfortably for the end of the year. We'll be able to make a big payment to Brownlee for gravel at the end of the year. We still owe him $320,000, $330,000 somewhere for the Martin Moss pit. The gravel up there, so we'll get him paid off on that, and then we've got more bids that are gonna be rolling in, so we'll just start that right over again. Any questions on the financials from you guys? Besides looking into the John Deere lease payment that you're thinking might be hinky, Jim. I'll take a look into that. I don't know why that would be. But, let's see, it is the season again to publish the annual notice of snow removal and sanding. So we're not changing anything from 2023's policy that we approved then. Just wanted,
Maybe the chairman's name at the bottom.
yeah, well, I don't think we even need to re-sign it, do we?
No, we don't? No.
No, I think you guys just need to look at it and make sure that it still all pertains to our current situation. And I didn't see anything that,
I looked through it, it looked like exactly what we've
so
been doing indeed, so.
we won't make Dan do any more signatures than he already has to.
That's much appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot to print off was an agenda. Let's see, so then I think you all know that Ethan Kramer resigned with like a 2 days notice, the beginning of the month. So we're down yet another guy. So we're down 2 since Jeff retired. So Doug suggested that we wrote a resolution. Oh, yes, sorry,
Oh, yeah.
one thing at a time.
I will move to accept Ethan's resignation.
I'll second it.
We've got a motion and a second to accept the resignation of Ethan Kramer. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And nothing, I mean, I don't know, nothing against Ethan. He was a good employee.
Yeah.
He was a good man.
Churn happens.
We're gonna miss him. And, okay, so as I was saying, Doug suggested we write a resolution about staffing and advertising down at the highway department. I don't know, have you guys had a chance to read the resolution that we?
Yeah, so if in the future, then if we wanted to adjust this, we just pass a new resolution then to,
Change the numbers? or-
and then this would replace the need for you to come to us every time to advertise?
Every time to advertise, not to hire, just to advertise.
When somebody quits and it's off schedule with the commissioners' meetings, we wait another whole month before we advertise, that's foolishness. So
And I'll always be checking back in with you guys before I hire anybody, so. But that just kind of sets me at 9 highway maintenance workers and one assistant and one office manager. And then 2 seasonal highway maintenance workers. It would be kind of nice to have those guys on hand if we can have a couple guys who are coming in the summer or
Put them on mowing, so it frees everybody else
Spraying.
up for.
asphalt. Yeah. So that's my intentions on this. Like I said, it doesn't grant me the authority to hire without approval.
Right. I'll make that motion for the resolution 2025-16.
I will second.
Got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-16. Do a roll call vote. Palmer,
Aye.
Eschenbaum,
Aye.
Warnsman,
Aye.
Strasburg. And Jensen is an aye. Resolution passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk to, I was thinking about this too with seasonal employees with the weed department. I mean, depends on what we have on current staff over there too, but say if it's a windy day or something like that and they can't be out spraying, can they hop in a mowing tractor and
That would be nice, honestly. We've considered, I mean, on occasion, we'll call over there and say, hey, you got a guy. But most of the time, they're doing their week business. But anyway, so Harrison Township, fun. I have the revenue report. So far this year, we have $28,825 that's been paid in towards their maintenance. At this point in time, we've spent $5,741. The totals on the top of that, Doug, should be, oh no, did it not update? Scroll on down. Maybe I lied.
What one?
To the bottom? Oh no.
touchscreen.
Yeah, that's-
Well, I don't know what happened, but I've got the full report here. That is,
What one?
before I came over, but I think I grabbed the wrong one because that's May.
Today?
Yeah.
So the total increase is 28,000 for the year.
Yeah, because they updated, or they put in a road and bridge opt-out. So that they were making sure that they were covered for expenses. Now, I don't know what this winter's gonna hold, and I have to say that we were blading up in Harrison today and yesterday, and we're mowing up there for this last week. So that's gonna be in next month's reports. So that's not reflected in this, the fall maintenance that we usually do up there. Let's see. So the total expenses are $5,741.74. That is what we have spent so far this year on maintenance. And that's not counting the Fulton Road, the Fulton Road up there, 10. And then the revenues that we received are $28,825.54. So they're more than amply covered for winter, I believe, if it's a tough winter. But like I said, that's not counting the mowing and the blading that we're doing up there right now.
Doug, I don't remember, did we ever change this Harrison Township to a separate line item fund?
You know, we wanted to, but when I called legislative audit, I didn't get a real clear answer on it. But just as you were saying that, I was thinking maybe if there was money left at the end of the year, we could assign it specifically for expenses. So it would carry over underneath that title from year to year.
Because
I think it would be better to have its own fund. Easier to-
I do.
That would be
too,
handy.
because
Transparency.
we're
Be
tax-
easier to track.
Yeah, we're taxing them separately, you know, so.
I'll renew the question.
Okay. Is that, it should be a separate line item thing for that township. not be confused with general fund or whatever.
Right. Well, and that's where we print out that report. We pulled out the report and we can pull a separate report on, out of the system, which is what we did to get that number.
And so you're talking a line item for like the expenses or just a fund where that,
For the revenues.
A fund for Harrison Township that we, put their taxation into. and-
right,
Right,
I mean,
so we
this
make
is-
sure we're getting you fair.
Yeah.
He's keeping an eye, oh, you're not in there? Well then, you're not here to yell at me then. Okay. I don't think there's anything to approve on that one. So we'll move on to the RAFE fund. It's that time of year again. Alden submitted a resolution applying for a grant on the 350th Avenue between 185th and 186th Street for culvert replacement. I don't know, I'm gonna pass that around. I scanned all the information in, so it's reviewable online. Florence Township also, I guess I should probably go one at a time and make sure that they each get documented individually.
I'll make a motion on all of them to approve it.
Are you on that township board?
Yes, I am, so I can't do that.
might be a conflict. Do you,
Is there money in the rate fund to cover all these requests?
We have $150,000 in funding. The form that Doug just had up showed we're actually going to be spending way less than I thought we would be on these culverts. So next year, we're going to have, I think it was between 60 and 70. The expense out of the RAFE should be $55,865. So we'll still have 95,000 left in the
For all
RAFE
these projects, that's what it is,
for all three.
for the three.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Last year, we had quite a few more.
I will make Luke's motion to approve these three requests of the rate fund.
do we, the
All in-
deadline to approve these is like,
Do we have to approve them individually?
I mean, we don't have any more, no more can come in through this year.
No. This would be closing the applications for this year and then rolling into next year,
And those dollars need to be spent by
2029.
2029.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep advertising and pushing it. I send out a letter every spring before February, so everybody knows they need to get their resolution in. I contact the townships fairly regularly on those things, so they just have to step forward. But I know a lot of them also are kind of feeling the draining of their funds from funding previous projects. And hopefully,
Right.
maybe next year they'll have a little bit of a fund replenishment and be able to do more.
Okay, you're maintaining your motion
Yes.
and
Well-
For
second?
all three?
Not him.
Well, I think they kicked me off. Where's wrong?
Like I said, we're gonna get technical.
I don't know if I got kicked off.
He left before he was useful.
I didn't get a check from him this spring, so I'm pretty sure I'm off the board. So I
That's a
can
way to find out.
I guess to be on the safe side, maybe we.
just do, somebody else do all.
I've already made the motion to approve all three projects.
So yeah,
Second.
there's Greenleaf and Florence, and there's the summary sheet.
Got a motion and a second to approve the three RAFE applications. Is there any discussion?
These have all been reviewed by
Yeah.
Brad as well.
Oh, well,
No.
Brad doesn't usually. We'll have to submit 404 forms on them and make sure that we're behaving as far as the DANR and the waterways.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but yes, that will be done.
Is there any further discussion? Those are the other two. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So yeah, talk to your friends. We still have funds left for next year, which is wonderful. But we need people to claim them because they don't want to have to give money back.
And talk to your legislators, see if we can get this thing kept in place.
Keep it going. Yeah.
It's made a lot of improvements to our county our townships, that we wouldn't have made without that money.
Right. So, talking about bridges, Greg and I have been dealing with a couple of bridges that are on the local federal grants. The one north of Max Harrell's, or Arlene Batten's right now, and then one north of Homer Krager's, they're coming to replace those structures. They're putting in a triple box up by Krager's, and I never did I think they're putting a single box up by Harold's, right?
They're pouring it in place anyways.
Mm-hmm. So those are gonna be happening, so if you have any questions, those are local federal grants. I believe our share on those it's been a long time since I looked, but I was thinking it was somewhere in like 6%. So I think those are the best grants that we can get, so. So anyway, we're getting somewhere finally with all those big applications.
So this one on here is which one?
The one on there is Krager's.
Okay.
It's up by north of Homer Krager's.
So we need to,
You
Act on
really
this?
don't need to know anything. I
Just
just
tell
wanted to
us.
make sure you
Just
guys knew what was going
FYI.
on.
What's happening?
Okay.
Yeah, so if you hear anything about bridges and cranes and
Gotcha.
all the fun. But anyway, did you guys have any other questions for me?
Do not?
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cole.
Pass the mic.
Thanks.
And the safety officer. I talked to Will. He did say that he would attend the conference. So he has that conference form, I guess, registration form.
Well, it should. We've been going for 3 years now, and I mean, the word's been put out. Yeah.
You want to be safety officer?
We still have,
Neither does anyone else.
yeah, sounds like 60,000 or 70,000.
I'm up to join the crowd mentality.
Are you?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where we're at. Nobody expressed any interest in doing the position. So really, it depends on how you want to proceed.
On the safety officer?
Yep.
So Will said he would attend it, but
Because we need to attend to, for our insurance purposes, to get a better
Just-
rate.
You get a motion for Will to attend the safety conference?
No, just
I would
approval,
think so.
just travel approval.
it- Obviously, everyone should be aware that it's available or that option would be there to be the safety officer.
Yes.
Anyone that would want- I
do
mean,
we have it?
it's known
posted?
countywide.
Well, I sent a memo to each of the department heads, so
Now we got past all employees in there, so.
you'd have to ask them. I told mine. She's
We've
not
got quite a
interested.
few of the department heads in here, so over half of them. We've got a
Because
safety
it
officer.
wouldn't have to be a department head, I guess, in my opinion.
I know, I asked the guys and nobody wanted to jump at it.
We could work back in this corner and do eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
You start that, you're gonna get in trouble.
Well, you could maybe, we got 3 of you could be the nominating committee or something. Then you can nominate somebody else.
I got a few names.
If you take something off my plate, I'll put that one on it.
Would you?
Or you can give more consideration to the request we have in later.
Okay, well, we'll call it a work in progress.
Guess I'll let Will go and get her for now.
Make sure we're keeping up to our.
Nobody does it, it relies on the commissioners.
It actually does with the chairman.
Is it, can you do it via Zoom?
You can do it however you want.
I miss COVID, where we could do all this.
You're the only person I've ever heard say that.
I get it on record.
I can go get you a mask if you'd like. Okay, moving on. 3 plats, the Jacobs Wells edition, the TLCK Farms edition, and the K4 Farms and Klein Saucer Haven edition. Actually, it's just a replat, I believe. But anyway, there's 3 of them. They're all in proper form and ready for you to approve.
All been through all departments?
To get to this point, yes.
I will move, do you need them separately or?
No, you can do them in bulk.
I will move to approve the 3 plats.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Rich has got the second. We have a motion and a second to approve the 3 plats. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Do you have any objection if we do the open record stuff later in the meeting?
No objection here.
Okay, so that takes us to beverage license renewals, of which we have 3, the Miller Golf Course, the Richard Clement Post 299, the American Legion Post 38. All of those are also in proper form and ready for your approval.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Motion and a second to approve beverage license renewals. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next item is the new mileage and lodging rates that were established by the state. In the past, you just simply made a discussion. We don't formalize these until the January meeting, but basically just, is there any objection to just do that? I mean, it's already been decided. It's just a formality that you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Okay, the request to use the opioid settlement funds to purchase a drug detection tool for the sheriff's office. It's supported by myself, and the state's attorney also agrees that it's within the scope of the memorandums of understanding for the settlement, as well as his endorsement for the use of the device. So I'm going to turn it over to Shane because he knows a lot more about this than I will ever know. And well, hi, Jeff. You got him on? Would you be willing to recognize Jeff?
We certainly would, yeah.
Sure.
Hi, Jeff.
We have a fancy plaque for him and everything.
Yeah.
It's right over here.
iPhone camera with you?
Jeff, are you willing to step up?
Where's that spotlight when you need it?
I don't know where he's standing.
On the flag.
We doing it with all of us?
I don't know.
Do you want to stand random or do you want to go by Rich? I'll stand over here.
We can ask them.
Let's do that.
Here, let me go.
Here, stand over by Rich.
It's starting to look like a game of musical commission.
I don't want to hear that. Keep practicing.
Okay. We need to have somebody right here. Sorry, somebody's got to come in here. Not quite that way. Yeah,
You should have
there you go.
stayed where I
You
was.
both- There you go. Okay, guys. There's 8 of them. One of these got your autograph.
Congratulations, yeah. Enjoy.
Already enjoying.
Take a lot of time to get used to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that means it getting up in the morning.
Same time.
Same time.
Probably earlier.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, so as Doug explained, we have an opioid fund that was allocated across the country from Sackler family, Purdue Pharmaceuticals, who pretty much started the opioid crisis in America. Part of their fine was a $7.5 billion fee that was allocated to everyone for opioid safety. We've had a hard time deciding what to put that towards, since we don't have any recovery centers and things like that here. We did use a little bit for our community awareness meeting where we talked about the drug problems in the community and stuff. So with what's left, and I understand we must use it or lose it, correct, by the end of the year. So there is a spectrometer, which is a laser device that detects thousands of chemicals, and it detects it through containers. You don't have to open the container and put the drug into a test kit and possibly be exposed. So this device is really important for the safety of officers who are doing drug tests on the side of the road or even in the office. If we stop somebody and there's suspected fentanyl in it, there's no way to test it without opening it. So this is a huge asset. Unfortunately, it's about a $25,000 machine. It's handheld, it's mobile. It's called Detectichem, and we have got the price down to $23,697.75. The opioid fund is it still $22,925 in it? Okay, so that leaves a $772.75 remaining on the balance, and the City of Miller Police Department has agreed to pick up the rest of it for us. So I just request that we can use that opioid funds for that piece of equipment. Like I said, it'll ensure safety on the side of the road for the officers and anyone else involved. And with the amount of drug cases we have, it'll be utilized quite often. So, and I know other counties have done the exact same thing with their funds.
So the stuff on here, maybe there's different ones. It doesn't show it that sheet, but you get all the stuff.
There's
Which one you want to look at, Greg?
Well, I don't know.
Whichever one's the $23,000
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so which of the two?
I see.
okay. It's the
Detective
narcotics.
chem is a
Yeah,
different-
we're not
whole
doing
different-
the other one includes explosives, and we're not
Okay,
getting
so
that.
it's
So
the
it's
NARC
the
one.
it's the NARC one.
I assume to detect explosives, not actually.
Correct.
Because that one,
We just send Brandon in if it's explosive.
That's fair.
It's
that one shows
cheaper that way.
24.9 or whatever, without any of this stuff. Or is that a different?
24.9. Yep, it started at 24.9, and then there's a 5% discount that they gave us, which is $12.45. If you go
What
down
about the other
farther,
stuff?
so that's all included.
Oh, because the bottom,
Basically, you just negotiated the price down.
Correct.
that's, okay, that's what I'm wondering.
And I have that. Yeah, that one says 28,000. So I have a sheet here. This is my notes with a total of 23,697.75.
Then on here, it shows 10, like kits, it shows 10 count.
Yep.
So they give you 10, but then if in the future, then you have to buy them, I assume, or something, or how does that? Like, or is that not what I'm understanding?
Okay, so there's a mobile detect pouch that they're sending some with us that is free. And those are different from the spectrometer. The spectrometer does its own test inside the machine, and you can use that only. And they're also throwing in some test kits that are field test kits where you actually put the substance on a.
Do you need to do that to like verify that it's
No.
that it's correct?
No, you don't.
This
Will do it all.
It'll
If
do
you're
it.
having a hard time reading it, sometimes you can stick it on there. Or THC products aren't like THC flower, like marijuana flower and mushrooms, things like that. The laser in it is so hot that it'll burn that. So leafy substances and things like that, you can't test with it. It's more for powder and things like that, crystals. Oh yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah. And it actually sends the test results to your email, and it gets a printout of all the chemical makeup of it, how much meth is in MDMA or how much amphetamines are in the meth or things like that. So it's,
And that's good in court, whatever.
yeah,
So
instant. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
Seconds.
pretty sweet.
Seconds.
Basically, an in-house laboratory.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yep.
awesome.
It's pretty sweet.
So then
And
it would-
again, like if it's in a metal or a glass container, you just put the glass container on it and push the button, it'll read right through it. So
So then you can use those tests as evidence prosecution?
correct. So it should cut down on lab
Lab
tests
tests
too
and stuff.
for
I got you.
lab confirmation. Yep.
I move we approve the purchase of that device with the addition of the city paying
I'll second
small
that.
arrangement.
And I should say the city, they want to wait till January 1st to reimburse us that $700. So if that's okay with you guys, we float them.
I
for-
think so.
If we get another payment from a settlement, we can also do that.
Okay.
So I think probably if you just know that as soon as we transact the deal, we'll use whatever funds are available. And then we make it work.
So we can order it now and pay for it and then,
Okay, there was a motion. Did I hear a second?
I did.
Okay, sorry. Motion and a second to approve the drug detection device. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
Good, thanks Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
I dang it.
Just a little thicker right through there.
I'm about that thick and thin.
I don't know, it's just like
We've got a lot of
something
room.
growing in there. What's that?
So you know we've got a lot of room, guys.
We could dance back there. Okay, maybe not. Okay.
Best laid plan.
I've seen you dance. It's a bad plan. Okay, topics from recent training and conversation. Spending policy. We don't have one. When the state auditor was here, when I first started, then the subsequent one, the latest one, we don't have a spending policy. And this kind of touches on what my original conversation with folks at Titan was about, is having an equal opportunity to participate in providing us services, product, whatever it might be. So at some point, we need a spending policy so that basically so that we can buy stuff equitably from the community and others and not risk offending. Now, it's not that I'm afraid to offend somebody, because I've done it forever, but boom. But basically there are concerns that come up about favoritism. And that's what legislative audit is most concerned about, is favoritism basically ignores others so that you can favor this person. So it's basically about an equitable purchasing situation. So what I'm looking for from you guys is if there's one of you that would be interested in participating with me on this topic, then we would bring it back to you and we would bounce it off all the department heads. So basically it covers everything that I've listed there, from the spending policy, favoritism, transparency, uniformity in purchasing, and then the last one, agreements, I'll talk about after one of you so graciously volunteers to help. Greg?
Greg was raising his hand.
I was kind of hoping it'd be Greg, because I thought maybe somebody in Dakota Energy might have an instrument like that, or not.
I don't think so.
Do you have like a purchasing department or somebody that's assigned that task?
But they're altogether different than a government agency.
I was just hoping we could steal somebody's paperwork,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
not reinvent the wheel.
There's gotta be something out there.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you can do it by Zoom and you can wear a mask if you'd like.
Well, that might be in.
Bring back COVID, huh?
Yeah.
He likes it.
Make
Um, Yeah. I'll
I
do it.
mean, don't feel
We'll avoid
forced
volleyball
into
season.
it, but you're
For
doing it.
both of our sakes.
Yeah. I'll see what I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be nice to you. I'll do the bulk of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see. See what I can come up with.
I'll be kind to you, I promise. Okay, so as far as the agreements, one of the things that I predict is going to be in the audit report is our non-centralized method of keeping agreements and contracts, which means like the highway department might have the lease for those tractors and they expect me to have it. My solution is that we just create a page on our website where we just put all of the agreements so that they're all accessible in one spot, can be read by anybody at any time, night or day.
When we come to a meeting, we don't have our paperwork, we can pull it up.
Yep, you can always go back. So like you were talking about when we got that tractor and switched to the PTO out the front, I remember that. That was a whole separate year.
Yep.
We basically
I'm
got
sure
that
we
washed
just had
out.
those two for 1 year, and then we traded one of those leases in.
We did.
the Other one.
So that's my plan on how to mitigate that particular one. But then the rest of the spending policy, basically, it really focuses on favoritism more than any of those other topics. So we'll work on something to get rid of that. My next item here is actually, I'm going to speak for Jamie until she interrupts. See, she's very agreeable. Each of us have talked about wanting to have a part-time person. And so then I went to Jamie and we talked about it and we're thinking maybe we just need to share a person that could be full-time because honestly, I don't really know if we would have success in finding two people to work part-time. And somebody might be more willing to do both of those chores in those departments if they also receive benefits. So I want to open the door to this topic and tell you straight out that I wouldn't ask for this if I didn't need it. It's not a luxury. It's not a want, it's a need. I basically put in that part-time hours myself each week. And there's things that I'm neglecting at home. And it's just time to get some help. And most of what I have isn't related to being the county auditor. It's related to clerical work. It's related to records management. It's related to going back and getting it back in that policy manual and getting that finished. Because I haven't touched that thing for 2 years. It's about working on collecting the liens that are owed to us for court-appointed attorneys and care of the poor and a variety of other things, jail time. So originally I thought that I wouldn't need it, but it's pretty obvious that nothing's really changed. We just keep getting more and more stuff handed to us. And I don't expect Jamie to share it, but she got an email that was sent to all the assessors from one of my favorite people who likes to ride my back. And it's just this constant pressure from the state. I mean, we're doing more and more for the state than what we used to. And we're just doing more. You know, every time the county enters into something different, it adds workload to us in the auditor's office. So it can be relatively small, but some of it's quite involved. You know, with anything related to federal funding, there's a whole litany of requirements that they have for reporting, and that falls on us. So that is my request. Jamie, do you want to offer anything?
I was just trying to find, so for my office, there is actually a codified law, and it actually talks about how many people they actually recommend for the parcel load. And for our parcel load, which we have about 8,500 now, they recommend one person for every 2,500, I believe. We have to, and now it's the reappraisal, I've been trying to do. And I've been keeping up pretty good, but it's just kind of overloaded, I guess. That was said. Added zoning and GIS and trying to keep up, and I'm trying to see with that as well. It's a lot. Before they had GIS. Thank you. So, I guess I'm like that, I guess I would ask for a part-time person. I could keep a full-time person. Really, in all honesty. But I would take somebody for sure 20 hours, but I can definitely keep somebody to be full-time. For sure, while I do finish up this reappraisal with them, if I get my timetable right, will give me at least 8 more years. So, to get through the whole thing.
So in essence, a
By
rover,
then, I don't know.
a rover for a better term,
Kind of, yeah.
but primarily.
So I guess we never really discussed it when Nicole switched to full-time to the highway department. Obviously, originally we had she was deputy auditor assigned to the highway department. I don't know
Yep.
how many duties she did outside of the highway department.
Very little. I mean, we had her involved in some of the election stuff, but that also got phased out 2 years ago, just,
Because I think I remember originally maybe, I don't know if we actually put number to paper, but I remember like a 75-25 split that she was going to do, maybe 25% actual peer auditor
Yep.
stuff for you. But
really, it's just, even just in the short time that I've been in the auditor's office, the amount of change is so different than it used to be. You know, everything from public records requests to whether they be formal or informal. The informal ones where somebody just calls and asks for something, literally you drop everything, you go do that, and you return to it. The formal ones, luckily, actually give us more time to compile that data than the informal ones, but that takes up a lot of time. And then, like, just my efforts for your board, I mean, that consumes almost an entire week of my month getting ready for it and then taking care of business after. So that basically leaves me 3 weeks to do the remainder of it. It just sucks. I mean, it's just, I like to go home once in a while at 5 o'clock.
You guys have obviously talked about it internally, so. Did anyone just come up with like an AI job description kind of thing, anything like that?
Well,
You had in mind specifically, or was it just kind of like?
for both of us, much of our jobs are outlined in statute. So to give you a job description, I'd probably just have to throw Title VII at you and say, turn to county auditor. And then it's kind of funny, when I was in the sheriff's office, we used to get these discs with the laws on it. And you could type in a word and it would give you every occurrence of that word. And so I put in sheriff and I thought, well, I better read all the statutes that include the word sheriff. Well, then I did it up here with auditor, and I was surprised that it appears more than the sheriff did. And I was like, oh, so I'm always learning that I'm involved in other stuff that only happens occasionally and I wasn't aware of.
so like title would be a deputy, or it would be something
Well,
different?
Whatever we
you
want it to be,
use
I
the
guess,
term
but-
clerk.
So I guess my idea would be that this person would fill more of a clerical per se, because Nicole, in my eyes, is filling more of a deputy. Nicole's title is clerk. I would actually step Nicole up if this would actually take place, and potentially get her a certification, because she has taken on a larger role with all of this, because it's been needed. And this person would come in and fill in more of a clerical position, because honestly, that's what is needed, is someone to do more of a clerical thing.
Same.
Second floor rover. column.
What's that?
Second floor rover.
Yeah, that sounds like what it, I mean, because you also say they could cover
Yeah, like
Worst
this,
come to worst.
treasurer or the,
like this month, we have election school.
they can't.
No. There's too much in my office. Right, my office too. That would be. It's like, the only time I pay this is like when we, to our tax laws. And the only time my office has been closed has been twice, once for my brother-in-law's funeral last year, and this year I had a funeral and Sinead's little guy. And Sinead was out having a baby, and had the other, so.
You're just saying it would be for the small amount of occurrence, it's not worth the time to train somebody to.
No, it is not.
Well, and that's where I was going, is that
Possibly.
if I had more help doing the clerical stuff, then some of these other chores, I could do those.
So we would, as far as pay, we'd have to look at that too. Whether it would fall into place.
Yeah, do you have an idea of where that?
Probably the same thing we've paid everybody else when we hire them on.
So you
Out of our
run,
budget.
the job description would be clerical administrator?
I think just
Or
clerical.
just clerical.
Go back to the basis, and it'll be your office and Jason's office.
So
Yeah.
we're talking a base pay with all the benefits and everything. We're probably talking about an additional budget.
60.
60.
Kind of tough coming in after the budget's been set.
Or-
But I know,
As soon as possible.
I think,
Oh, how soon would you want, as soon as you could find somebody?
I'm sure.
Well, I mean, by the time we get it in the paper, I mean, it's probably gonna be, we're talking, we got holiday season coming up. We got-
Probably be after the first year.
There's 2 weeks notice, all of that, I mean, we'll be lucky to get them to start deciding if we could, but
If we can even attract somebody.
So would this person like dual report, or would one of you take full supervision?
Would probably be separate. I don't know. You have a comment on that?
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Maybe.
No, I'm not gonna argue with her.
Maybe we'll just all report to Jane.
Yeah, report to Jamie.
yeah,
I was told. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to give background, this obviously isn't something that has just come up. We've had discussions and conversations for serious ones, I think, for months probably now. And like I said, I mean,
For my sanity, I would really appreciate if you guys would take this.
yeah, because we don't want you to go to the loony bin. That'd be a bad place.
So as
for
far
you.
It's pretty close.
We provide transportation.
So you wouldn't necessarily,
She's had the car ready to go, I know, yeah.
so like training purposes, though,
take it.
we wouldn't necessarily
Be training them in equalization or auditor stuff more so.
clerical.
There's gonna be some training involved, obviously, being able to look up.
Right, I
proper
recognize.
parts In office, like, there's not gonna be any outside. training.
So like on days like when you two are out, like this person would be in the office,
Right, being able
basically-
to email property cards, being able to read them.
keeping the door open and
Yeah,
taking
Yeah.
notes or whatever for
Yeah.
people and whatnot. is what you're
This
thinking.
person, he or she would be able to, they're gonna be doing some stuff, believe me.
And there would be
I have a list.
a place to house them in one of the offices, or would you have a space in both, or would you just have?
Probably
space in-
both.
You have that,
What's that?
There's space in both of our offices for.
Yeah, I have a spot. And it needs muscles, desk.
seems like a reasonable thought, I mean, I don't.
Here's my concern. Every one of us is elected to the party that's supposed to believe in limited government. And I'm not criticizing you for needing the extra help. But my God, government just keeps growing and growing and growing. Who's gonna produce anything of value when everybody's working for the government at some point? It's just, you know, we've got to find a way to reduce this government workload, and I don't know how we do it. I mean,
Well-
where we even start.
I talked to Jamie, and with the reassessment that she's doing, if we were to try to hire a crew, an outside independent company to do this, we're looking, what'd you say, between
Half to a million dollars.
half to $1 million.
Yeah, well,
So,
like
I mean-
I'm not criticizing the need for extra help, but it just, like I said, government just keeps growing. At what point do we say enough government is enough? And
But I mean, she's got a pretty hectic schedule for herself set.
Yep.
She wants to get the reappraisal done in 8 years. Well, if they can never be out of the office, it's gonna take a hell of a lot longer than 8 years to get it done.
I
So we're
don't
gonna have
disagree.
to, we're gonna have to at some point do something, because
And
the,
that's not even all of the job.
yeah, I know that's not all of the
I
job.
just,
But I'm just saying that's part of it. And if we expect her or that office to do the reappraisal, we're gonna have to get some help in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and agreed. And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on how I guess we got here, but Doug, you mentioned that a lot of the, whether you want to call them mandates from the state, is stacking stuff on top of you. So is there anything like that on your side, Jamie? Is the state requiring us at the county level to be doing more and more, or is this just really kind of just you've been doing a lot of the work? There's nothing new maybe in your deal. It's just you've just been making it work for a while.
I don't know, because I'm new enough to know, I just know that there's a lot more reporting, and then there's different ways of reporting and all of those things. So probably.
I think it's anything with the state, because even my office with NORD, the state's only having us do a lot more for them also. It's just, the state's.
They want you to do more, they want you to do less.
That's, that seems to be the
Exactly what they were.
crux of the issue with what Jim's saying about added government. We're not doing anything different or asking you guys to do more from this table, where it's all coming from somewhere else.
And with the budget constraints at the state level, it won't surprise me that they'll push more duties to the counties.
To me, and this is just an opinion, but we see them moving to more software-based mechanisms to do this. But the people that actually have to operate that software and those mechanisms are us. And so you might see a shrinkage in the number of full-time positions in that particular office at the state, but that's because the mechanics of it is taking place off-site.
And the same thing is like driver's license, the state now charges $38 for a regular driver's license. It was $28. We get $6. We've gotten $6 for 10 years, we're still getting $6. We're not raising what we're getting.
In proportion to what they're.
Yeah.
So you stated pretty clearly that you wanted a full-time person, though. If we did happen to find somebody that says, hey, it would work for the role, but I can only do part-time, would that be we'd still entertain that? 20 hours is 20 hours.
I would.
What's that? Well, if we have somebody apply for that job, they're gonna come to my office. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna climb back the tape on how good you are in the long run. And then change that reservations for it.
No, I mean, like, I would just say more. If I didn't have them in the summertime more, then you could come and
Well, yeah, because it's not out assessing in the winter, you know what I mean? You can't.
Unfortunately, the auditor's office probably isn't seasonal very often. Yes. Jobs.
Well, every 4 years or 2 years, I guess, there's elections and stuff.
Hell, I might not even be here.
Oh, come on, though. You're gonna close the
Well, and
doors
to be
on
honest with
this.
you, that's, one of my thoughts is that I know Carolyn is gonna retire. She just hasn't set the date.
I was just gonna say, we've discussed this for a couple of years now, that, you know, maybe this person rolls into deputy auditor.
Well, this position doesn't require any training outside of the courthouse,
No.
so they would not have to do any continuing education or any, you know, certifications.
Yeah, so just as an example, when we started thinking about this road that doesn't have an easement on it, I went through my copies of these road easements for 6 hours. Just looking through easement after easement after easement after easement, instead of doing auditor work. And then I'm out of file space, so I have to remove the old files, get them ready for destruction so that I can put something else in their place.
Your clerk could do that.
Yep. You know, and then as far as like, if we, when we go to election school, if somebody comes in to register to vote, that's just a simple counter activity. Give them the instructions in the form, and so not too bad.
Sure. And I see, I mean, we don't build any cushion there in any of our budgets, so I don't, I mean, do you have anywhere in your budget so you could soften the blow?
Not in ours. Dude, and that was part of my discussion we're gonna have later, is that because we imposed restrictions on ourselves collectively, as far as spending, there conceivably could be funds, and we would have to go through that and look and demonstrate how that would work.
We make a lot of, make a lot of stuff work with the budget. Just like, need 60,000 is terrible. We know that we how many ever whatever a year or two, I think time flies, but when we had Nicole hired for some of that, I mean that position was, we're just moving people around, and we never, I guess we never really officially at this point added anyone because she's still here and just moving in a different role, so she just kind of absent from that role and moved somewhere else. So we already advocated for that, roughly that position once. To be honest, like,
Yeah, you need to fill a position that.
so.
Is that a motion?
Well, so
Well, there would be,
I'd say we-
there would be funds there. We could do this. Because I talked to Nicole, and Nicole says she does not want the assistant, deputy auditor. She goes, I got enough on my plate out there. I don't want it. And she thought it was gone when we hired her. She actually thought it was done.
Well, I think she has to put in a resignation for that.
Yeah, I asked her to keep it just so that when she was doing those easements, that she could basically sign off as the.
She just,
There's enough notaries that people can get a notary.
she just told me that she didn't want any of it anymore. Cause she said with what's going on out there, the position she's got out there right now, she takes everything. And I agree with her.
Yeah.
You stepped into a new position, you got a lot of learning to do. And,
a lot of
she just doesn't want it. So right there would be the funds for this.
Well, my proposal after that discussion is just, let's put out a request to see who's interested. See if there is somebody that's interested in either 2 part-times or 1 full-time, and revisit it next month.
So you want a permission to advertise?
Yep.
What do you have a hourly rate in mind?
Well, Jamie and I talked, we would probably use the deputy's pay that everybody gets on this floor.
Okay.
Right, Jamie?
I think that we should become right in line with that, somewhere, like, if we're gonna entertain any promising applicants.
I mean, and I don't know how we feel, I don't know why you're gonna word the, or the advertisement, but, I mean, I would probably leave the pay out of it. We're not required to put pay
No.
in there. I mean, it just, I don't wanna, you don't wanna, kind of when we were doing the last hiring, we were maybe pigeonholed into a wage. If we wanted to make any changes later on, say you get an applicant that you think is good but has no experience versus somebody that has 100 years of experience.
Right.
I don't know, just gives you a little wiggle room. If you don't list it in the ad, then people have an
Yeah, I
expectation
think
of it.
that.
Yeah.
Right, I agree with that.
But we have an idea of what it would be.
Right, we got an idea what it's gonna be.
I would make a motion that you advertise for a shared role between the auditor and assessor as a full-time position.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to advertise for a full-time position. There's a clerical role between the auditor and assessor's office. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so tied with that is we're back to cybersecurity and the need for a point of contact locally for this to take place. So again, if I had more help, I would be willing to do this because this is not one of those jobs that you do a lot of. I mean, there are a lot of little things, but there isn't any big things that come along. But again, we didn't have anybody express interest in it. Jim did contact his daughter and she was not interested, even as a consultant, so.
Because the discussion before, I just want to clarify again, but we need someone other than like Infotech, a third party basically is what
Yep.
we're looking for, someone else that's out of that mix to be impartial or so to speak, I guess, on the right.
Yeah, somebody basically to maintain that accountability, that we're getting what we're paying for and that it's actually being done.
And did you put that out there as for people to know that was
Yeah.
available?
Yeah, I sent that out in an email,
Did I miss that?
maybe. I don't know. I sent a lot of emails.
I think I got that. Probably.
I have
Interested in that.
complaints about the number of emails I send out.
You got complaints or you got complaints? People that you sent out to.
I send out too many emails. But
I didn't think there was such a thing.
sometimes, even to myself.
Okay.
Okay, elections. Doing a little forecasting here. The auditors, we have a very established network that we communicate with each other with by text or by email. And we've all come to the agreement that we're probably all under budgeted for elections because we were asked to estimate the number of ballot styles we're going to need for the primary. And so I did that. And I come up with 27 different ballot styles. Now, the dumb thing is, just the best illustration I can give you is it 2 years ago or 4 years ago that Bernie Sanders ran, withdrew from the election, but we'd already made ballots. So we spent all that money on prepping and publishing, or not publishing, but producing the ballots, and they were just garbage. Same thing's likely to happen here where we'll produce ballots for the primary with a strong chance that candidates might drop out and endorse somebody else. We're going to have all these ballot styles. The good thing is we don't have 12 precincts like we used to. We only have 5, so that reduced the number of it. like Minnehaha County has 98 precincts. And we're going to have Democratic, Republican, non-political. And now we're going to have a federal ballot for those who can't establish or verify their residency, but they can still vote for federal candidates. So we'll have those in Democratic form and those in Republican form. And non-political.
Rephrase that. And the federal.
Let's say you're an RVer, right?
Okay.
And you decide to use his address to receive your permanent mail, your legal mail.
Okay.
Because you don't actually live here, you could register to vote, but you're only going to get a federal ballot. You're not going to get to vote on any of the local issues. So I'm just wanted to give you that heads up to not be surprised if you hear me lament about that in the future. 'Cause it's
probably not gonna help us any for the 26th election, but we're starting to work with RNC on making these elections simpler and, I mean, another one of those things where they've gotten so complicated and expensive. There's no reason they should be.
Well, I'm reluctant to say it in public, but I'm going to. We spend a lot of money on tabulators.
Yep.
We spend a lot of money on those voter assistance devices. The only people that use the voter assistance, and I'm using generalized terms, have been the people that are required to test them at the beginning of the day.
Yep.
The tabulators cost us money for maintenance of them, then to use them, then to run the test ballots you run through them, the people to feed them. And I mean, we're talking probably close to $10,000 just to facilitate that. And so the discussions about having the precinct workers count them is valid to me because I know it would be cheaper, although the people working the polls might not want to spend 16 hours at that job instead of 12 or 13, but it also means that I could have ballots printed locally. I wouldn't be buying printed ballots from out of state, and I wouldn't have to be worrying about them getting shipped here overnight and costing $60 a box. So
And I really honestly believe that going back to hand counting our elections would get the people more involved in the election process. I think it'll increase the turnout at the polls. It's the people's election. They elect their representative. What has gone wrong that our voter turnout is as low as it is?
ours is good, but others probably.
But there's a lot of them that aren't, and I think all this gadgetry has separated the people from their election process.
Well, it definitely, you can see the difference when you look at when the city does an election for a city alderman. There's no electronics involved in their elections at all. I'm not going to use the school as a comparison because they don't have as many elections for school board as even the city does, but the city seemed to survive pretty well doing everything by hand without all this added expense. The problem is there's one side that says you can do it and there's one side that says you can't abandon them. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, ultimately they say your state's attorney needs to make that decision to give you advice whether you want to do it. But if you told me you don't want to use the machines anymore, I'm not going to argue with you.
How many are, is anyone now? Sioux Falls did some, did they?
No, they're still doing it. We, of our 5 precincts, you can just safely say that we got about 500 voters in each of the 5 precincts. If you have a 60% turnout, that's how many ballots you're going to count. Now, that's going to be more than what the city race is. So I figured it might take them 2 hours to count them. Well, by the time they pack up all their stuff, bring it here, it's 2 hours after the polls close anyway. And we're here till midnight.
But the poll workers have been able to go home. That's, I guess, one thing. But I don't know why we can't just some people in the count at the polls. You know, when they close the
A
polls.
fresh set.
I wouldn't want to sit there for 13, 14 hours and then have to count all them ballots, but I think we can get people to go in and count. And I don't know. If we don't put our foot down at some point, we won't even have elections. AI will decide who the best candidate is, and they'll just tell us so, and we'll say, okay, that's the way it is, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Things have got to change to get people involved in voting and participating.
Well, I've scheduled next year's problems for next year, so.
Off to the side. But one last thing. I mean, if you guys seriously want to know the answer to that question, it'd be a question for you because you guys get to decide. And it would be a question for you to bounce off the state's attorney and get his opinion on whether you can or you can't.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that if you told me that you want a hand count, I'm not going to argue at all. All right, financial reports. Let me grab my mouse here. You paid a little over, went off completely. A $500,000 in bills today, 380-some thousand was for the highway department. So luckily, we're in October when people start paying their property taxes so that we can replenish what was spent. So again, the crummy part about this is that you don't get to see these numbers after these bills are paid. So just keep that in mind that that's how it works. Come on. So this negative number, this represents the taxes that we're going to collect, but this is your fund balance moving into today. So there was some money that come out of emergency management, some of those other funds, but probably tomorrow, this is going to show probably around $400,000 in cash sitting there. The highway department, let's see, I shouldn't have closed that, sorry. Is right here at $1.5 million. And so then she gave you the breakdown after expenses, how that pulls it down. So you're probably looking, I'm going to say pretty close to 700,000 there. But like I said, it's October. We're going to get property tax. We also start getting the second cycle of some of the motor vehicle taxes that come in. So what we need to do is, I would like for the chairman and maybe one other commissioner to just, so that we can communicate with each other and just keep a feel for how we're looking at the end of the year. I don't think that there's a great chance of us hitting that 40% rule of carryover, but I don't want to take any chances. So I think the best way to do it is if myself, the chairman, one of you others, we can sit there and analyze this on an ongoing basis.
Shouldn't we do what we've been doing, the budget committee, the chair and the vice chair?
Sure, if you want to.
I think
Yeah, that works.
do what we've been doing.
Because most of it can be done by email, and
And it rotates every year, and
I'm okay with that if you're okay with that.
you guys are okay with it.
That works.
So I'd like to look at the revenue budget and see where we're at. So if we're 3/4 of the way through the year, theoretically, we should be about 3/4 of the way through expenses, 3/4 of the way through revenues. Well, some of those revenues don't cycle that way, so they're a little offset. So what I did is I highlighted in here each of them that exceeded 100%. So building permits is more than, and that's 75% point. Here are federal shared revenue, which is a form of PILT, is at 152. The weed and pest grant came in higher than expected for 107. The wind farm taxes came in higher than expected, but we did a conservative estimate on those revenues, so I kind of expected that to happen. The other PILT, payment in lieu of taxes, came in at 1,245% of what we anticipated. So We thought we'd get $750. We got $9,300. And here's driver's license exams, 114%. Copier fees, 105%. Rubble site collections, 105%. So all of these are very good things. I mean, they just show that some of our estimates were too conservative and we're actually bringing in more. But to me, it's better to have these numbers look like that than to go over to the expense side and have the alternative. So when you do look at these reports, that's kind of what I'm highlighting for you is the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you see a red one, that means ugly. So when you go back and look at those. How would you guys feel? Get you out of the way? And then if we could take a small break to wet my whistle, we can come back and do the open meeting laws.
Sounds like a plan.
Good afternoon. Thanks for adjusting your agenda to allow me on. Just wanted to update you on the EM pickup purchase. Now that the 2026 bid prices have come out. I was using estimates before off of 2025. Bid price actually came out just a little bit lower originally, but then I found a clerical error in the install for the total amount. So that was $1,800 to remove and install the equipment and radios out of my truck into the new truck instead of $1,200. So it was a $400 difference. So in the end, the total amount was $697 more than what we originally went off of prices for 2025.
But this is the right number?
That is the right number, yes. That's just for the pickup, not for all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So. And this is the total package. Short. Doug will need one probably. I have. So the special purpose package, service package, they call it. To add the different things in there, it's actually cheaper to go that route than to build the truck out. So you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a grill guard, Nerf bars, the inverters, the bigger display, and then the auxiliary switches, and a little bigger fuel tank with that. If you build it off the base price and add all those stuff on just the regular bid, it actually comes up just a little bit more than the special service. So it's a little better option to go this way. So $50,108 is what the truck would be at. Time frame, they're 150 to 180 days is what the build time is on it. And they said the earliest they've had one come in is 120. So I guess I was open to request the option to get it ordered now that the budget has been set in stone and we're set for the year, and get the order so it'll show up around February. Wintertime would be a good time to do all that outfitting and getting it up to getting everything switched over.
Where do we have it?
Was it?
What line item? We had that as a line item in our budget now, didn't we?
We budget for vehicle replacement.
Right.
As part of contingency.
Right.
This is a
And that's how much,
contingency
how much did we have in there?
6.
We had right at 60.
60,000.
Right at that, that's what I was thinking.
Who does the removal and install?
360,
Did you have to take
Guy out
it
of Blunt,
somewhere?
he's done our sheriff's vehicles. And
You take it somewhere to do that though, or?
yeah, take it over to Blunt, to his shop and set them side by side, remove them and install them. I think it's 360 Upfitters is what he calls his company.
So you're looking for approval to just place the order?
Place the order, yeah.
Did we determine what we were gonna do with your used pickup yet? Was that,
There's been two different discussions. One, I think Jamie was interested in it, and then the other one was the county highway shop, so I don't.
How many miles on
83,000. It'll be pushing 90 by the time the new truck comes in, probably.
It's a half ton, right?
Half ton, yeah.
And this is 3/4.
What's that?
This is 3/4, right?
Yeah, this is 3/4 ton. This will pull the generator and the hazmat trailer that I have a lot better. Right now, if I pull that generator with it, I drag the chains. I can't twist them up enough and keep them off the ground. There's this really pretty heavy piece of equipment.
Well, we knew we budgeted for it.
Like I said, in my opinion, we've already sort of gone through all the discussion, and this is pretty much right in line with what we discussed it would be. And
And then, I guess it doesn't sound like there's any chance of it coming prior to that, so.
No, and they said if it did, they would hold it and make the payment after the first of the year. He said he hasn't had one come that fast. He said the fastest he's had one is 120, which is 4 months. They put on the bid, it's 150 to 180, just because they can't guarantee it. They don't want anybody to think it's going to be here sooner. He said it could take 360, but he said everything's catching up from where it was a couple years ago, so he doesn't foresee that happening.
I guess I'd say make a motion.
motion order?
Yeah.
I will second.
got a motion and a second to approve the order of Arlen's pickup. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
One last question I have is with some of this, the stuff like the deck system and the topper. I got to get a hold of the Chase Automotive in Fort Pierre. If we order it after the first year, I don't know if there'll be any increase. I was going to keep in touch with them to make sure if there's going to be an increase in price, is that something that can be purchased earlier?
That can be purchased what now?
Could it be purchased earlier to
Oh.
guarantee the lower price if it's going to go up in price? As of right now, there's nothing that's gone up, but we know what happens after the first of the year. It seems like everything takes a jump. The
Topper's
decks,
4,100 and
Yep.
deck is 35.
Right.
So 7,500.
right now, that deck system went down $200 from when I priced it earlier this year, so. Not saying it
I
won't go
guess you
down
could
some
ask
more.
them, see what they say, but the other thought is, I guess if you order it in December, you wouldn't pay it till January anyways, I suppose. You have to have it.
I mean, yeah, see what they say. I obviously would, at that point, we'd make the determination if it's willing to, if we're willing to pay more and wait, or.
So if it's going up, then come back to you guys and get,
Yeah.
that's what I'll do. Hopefully they'll go down, but
So I guess if we keep waiting, maybe that deck system will be 2,500.
hopefully.
Free. We
That'd
wait
be
long
all
enough.
right. I don't know about free, but the closer it gets, the better.
I don't think it's probably gonna go down a whole lot.
One last thing, the pre-disaster mitigation meeting is this coming Tuesday, or next Tuesday, I guess. You guys are invited to join us. I think, Greg, did you join us?
I was there.
We'll do it in conjunction with our LEPC meeting, so there'll be a meal there for $8. It'll be at the fire hall. Move it to a little bigger venue, but had a very good turnout. 13 or 14 people showed up. which is probably the most we've ever had. Yeah, sounds like we've got one of the better turnouts in the state for county being involved, so. It is a public meeting, but it'd be great to have as many of you as that can make it to be there and see what, Tuesday, next, this coming Tuesday, yep. Week from today, at noon, Fire Hall. 14th, right.
And what time?
Noon. And we'll do a LEPC meeting right away. We don't have a lot on the agenda, but we got to get one in for that group, and then we'll go right into the PDM. So, any other questions for me?
I don't.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Harlan.
I make a motion, we take 5.
I think we can just go ahead and grant that. 5 minutes.
Recess.
It's just whatever is listed on, yours is district, what are you, 4, 3, 2? Just District 2, capital D space between the district and the 2. That's what mine was, that's what his was, I see. That's
Yeah, it was capital D.
It makes it hot.
Oh my gosh, don't burn yourself.
Say something inappropriate. Well, how long have I been here the last night?
Hopefully not very long.
Like 20 minutes.
That Ed Parkson one.
Oh,
I don't know, I tell my daughter, but I don't know why. You guys have to make this
Well, she does her part. The others struggle. Yeah. Anyway. To get started?
They got some tough ones.
Yeah. District 2 is clear space, it's just like.
Yes, it's exactly like that. You know what?
On the laptop, yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Go ahead and minimize it. This takes you to the agenda page. You scroll down a little bit. Or put them off some- I usually wear this.
No, that's fine, once I figure it out, where to make that.
Touch screen.
Oh, it's a touch screen. See, it's been a while since I've had a laptop that was like this. Always go back.
Yep, so then you can see it.
Okay.
I can get you there, there's some lost keyboard combo. That's what I do.
Well, that might be easier. Yeah.
Yep. So while that's going, internet or something. This takes to the 365 email login. And so I'm taking one of these cards. And you'll have to call down and visit with Workers Court. And just something you need to activate an email.
Okay.
So those two will default to the two things that you use the most common.
Okay.
For some reason, the wireless wasn't doing it very good. That runs?
Trying to look something up for me, learning something.
Well, Take my word for it. That's where you would log in.
Where'd these come from, Doug?
From the state BIT, Bureau of Information Telecommunications Warehouse. They were getting ready to sell out at the fairgrounds, Fort Pierce. I got there just in time, snagged me a color laser printer. Got 5 of these laptops.
Yeah, these are nice laptops.
And these are convertible to, you don't wanna.
Little pad for it.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Looking up like that, using like a tablet.
Perfect. Wow. You're just all over.
These are nice. I mean, the last ones I got were big ones like Jim and they were heavy.
Yeah. Oh, those are good.
But yeah, those poor iPads can't.
No, they just gotta throw them away.
Sure.
It's in the little purse I bought in.
But you can put that in the purse, it probably will still fit in.
No,
And stick out the
I
top.
don't know if it will. That's okay. I'll use.
How many of the brownies have you
Rich,
Just one?
He wanted to eat one earlier and I'm like, what?
European shoulder ball. It's a European shoulder ball.
Okay, that one is. It's nice. You know what? I might use it as a purse. Honestly,
It's very cute.
because. It's supposed to be Rich's laptop to carry it, or his iPad. I got my phone in.
Where'd these come from?
Do you want another one, or do you want this
treasurer's
staffy?
There's no sugar in them, Jim, I promise.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I know it's pretty good. I have
Doug?
another one,
Rich.
but I don't.
I'll wait till the end.
Are you gonna do the same company, or are you gonna? do
Oh, he's gonna try
something
something
I was
different.
gonna
Are
say,
you missing anything, Carolyn?
you want another napkin? You're gonna get you another napkin. When you go home, you can eat the rest of that
You better.
cheesecake I made.
I didn't even have time for lunch.
All great has a smile after
Yeah, they're good.
I figured it out, it must be good.
That one must be like a.
I told Jim they don't have any sugar in them, but he doesn't believe me.
I pump full of
Yeah, but-
It'll start yelling. It'll-
Whoa.
I don't know, what are you thinking, Larry? Blah. He's trying to tell me there's no sugar. Oh, yeah. It's a bump will start complaining at me.
I made some really good things that didn't have sugar.
Teresa does too.
They're out there.
Get your whistle wet. Perfect. You ready? Whenever you are.
Okay, 3:00 it says. Doing pretty good. Statute 127.3, records declared confidential or secret. Section 127.1 shall not apply to such records as are specifically enjoined to be held confidential or secret by the laws requiring them to be so. This is the statute that plays into if you were to discussing some sort of legal issue that the court has maybe sealed the record or plans to seal the record on, or if I bring you a application for care of the poor, those are confidential. So it's important to understand what those other items are so that you don't run into a conflict thinking something is, and then you find out later that it's not. 127.4, any record made open to the public pursuant to this chapter shall be maintained in its original format and in any searchable or reproducible electronic or other format. This chapter does not mandate that any record or document be kept in a particular format, nor does it require that a record be provided to the public in any format or media other than which it was stored. So to me, the way this looks is if I have something that's only available on paper, then they get a copy of the paper, or I can scan it and send it to them electronically. But if I have an Excel spreadsheet, because if I send you an unlocked Excel spreadsheet, you can modify it. I can send you that Excel spreadsheet. I can lock it so that it can't be manipulated, or I can produce a PDF of it or even a photocopy. but you're not required to do those things. So it really, what it comes down to is communicating with the requester and seeing what format. So let's say that Jan wanted a particular record from me. I could ask her, do you want that in printed form or do you want it by email? And do you have a preference on how it comes to you by email? Because if I send it to her in a format she can't open, I'm not fulfilling my duty. Which happens all the time. That's because you use apples. Just kidding. 127, 4.1, format of written contract, storage with record retention officer or designatee, duration. And this is probably the statute that was being referenced by legislative audit. Any written contract entered by the state, a county, municipality, or a political subdivision shall be retained in the contract's original format or a searchable or reproducible format. Each contract shall be stored with the records retention officer of that entity or with the designee of the records retention officer, unless the contract is required by law to be retained by some other person. Each contract shall be stored during the term of the contract and for 2 years after the expiration of the contract term. The reason I think this is the one that she was referencing is she asked me for the purchases of the road graders as well as the lease purchases for the John Deeres, and I had to send her to the highway shop because I didn't have the full copies. Nicole already had them in digital form. She was able to send them to me, and I sent them on to the auditor, and she was happy. But clearly, there was an expectation that I should be having all of these. The other thing that I think we were doing wrong is that we had always attached those to the voucher that we used for payment. So when we bought those road graders from whatever vendor, we took that voucher for payment and we stuck the contracts behind them. Now we're going to start pulling those off, keeping them in this contract area instead of having to go search through thousands of vouchers for a particular thing. Availability of contract through internet website or database. And this is where the idea comes to just put them on the web from the very beginning. A lot of them end up being on the agenda so that you can access them before the meeting. I'll just go back and create one that's got the signed portions on it for public inspection. But the statute reads, any contract retained pursuant to statute may be made available to the public through a publicly accessible internet website or database. 127.5 was repealed. 127.6 was repealed, actually 7 and 8 also, which takes us to 127.9. Terms used in 127.9 to 127.18 inclusively mean a local record, a record of a county, municipality, township, district, authority, or any public corporation or political entity, whether organized or existing under the charter or under general law, unless the record is designated or treated as a state record under state law. So it's drawing a distinction between what is a state record and a local record. Number 4 illustrates what a state record is. It is a record of a department, office, commission, board, or other agency, however designated, of the state government, a record of the state legislature, a record of any court of record, whether of statewide or local jurisdiction, any other record designated or treated as a state record under state law. Going back up to 2, what is a record? A record is a document, a book, paper, photograph, sound recording, or other material, regardless of physical form or characteristics, made or received pursuant to law or ordinance or in conjunction with the transaction of official business. Library and museum material made or acquired and preserved solely for reference or exhibition purposes. Extra copies of documents preserved only for convenience or of reference, and stock of publications and of processed documents are not included within the definition of records. A state agency or an agencies includes all state offices, boards, commissions, department, institutions, agency of the state government. So with that, you can see a local record includes a lot of what we deal with. One thing that concerns me just today during this meeting is when Nicole said that she had sent you information about a Dodge pickup. I wasn't aware there was a conversation about a Dodge Ram pickup, and I'm sure Jan wasn't aware of that either. So if there was some sort of dialogue or information provided, those two of us, or probably the rest of the people that were here, we still don't know what you're talking about. So the responsibility would fall on us as public officials if we receive something like that to say, hey, make sure you're handling this the way it is. Because I know some of you will send a message, or I might send you something and I'll include the newspaper because it's just general information, and I'll put on there, don't reply back, because we don't want it to be a conversation. It's just rather than me mailing you this and sending it by email. That was a good illustration. It's just too bad that she did it that way, but it indicates how some of those records that are public were not publicly accessible.
Basically, that conversation was, I sent you the diagnostics, it's not worth fixing, let's not do it, that's too much money. Okay, you won't do it. What's too much money?
Yeah, and which Dodge Ram?
I mean, not that I'm gonna listen to all the thing, but you should something that, maybe somebody's like, hey, you got a Dodge pickup with that Dodge, this. I need that quarter panel, or I need that box or whatever, I'll buy that in the surplus auction. It is something that's been available within the agenda that we can discuss. So, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's just information that, second information.
127, sorry.
My first kind of looked up and I was like, oh.
Mine did too. My spidey hairs. 12710, records as property of the state, damage or disposal only as authorized by law. All records of public officials of this state required to keep or maintain by law or the property of the state may not be mutilated, destroyed, transferred, removed, or otherwise damaged or disposed of in whole or in part except as provided by law. So the county adopted the record retention law that was produced by the state office of whatever, I can't remember the full title. We adopted that the first year I was auditor to guide us through the process of what records can be disposed of and which ones we have to come in each time in a request. So it also has the list of records that are permanent. So for example, all of the minutes, the official minutes are kept forever. I have to keep all of the tax records for collection purposes. We have a journal of those. Those have to be kept forever. But otherwise, like the vouchers and stuff, most of those have a 5-year limit, and then they can be destroyed. So we did a resolution a number of years ago, authorized destruction of vouchers after 5 years. That's one of those clerical things that we talked about. Is I go through those and I pull out all of the affidavits of publication from the paper, and I have to look for all the contracts to pull those out. And then if we have something that has like an extended warranty or something of that nature, anything related to care of the poor, I have to pull out. So there's kind of a list of those. As I go through dispose of those, I have to look for them. And that's pretty time consuming and something that a clerical person could do. Did I already read 11 or was that 10? Okay, that was 10. 12711, board to supervise destruction of records, state records manager as ex officio member, permission required for destruction. There is hereby created a board consisting of the Commissioner of Human Resources and Administration, State Auditor, Attorney General, Auditor General, State Archivist to supervise and authorize the destruction of records. The State Records Manager shall also serve as an ex officio member in advisory capacity only. No record may be destroyed or otherwise disposed of by any agency of the state unless it is determined by majority vote of the board that the record has no further administrative, legal, fiscal, research, or historical value. So, for example, we have a ton of books in the attic. Before we would want to do anything with those, we would have the state archivist come over and examine them, and then they can tell us which of those records that they would be willing to store for us and make it available to anyone statewide, or that could be destroyed. So like a good example is there are just books and books and books of things from when we had personal property taxes. And most of them include how many chickens, hogs, boars, things like that you had. Historically, they might be entertaining, but for the purposes like it's spelled out here, administrative, legal, fiscal, they have no value. But before we would get rid of those, we would want to have somebody's opinion on.
Have you ever done that?
What's that?
We ever had anyone come to review any of that stuff?
We've talked about it, but we've never done it.
Do they come on? What capacity they come? I guess we just, if we ask, they would just come and do it?
Yep.
Or is there a fee associated with them coming to do it?
When the Turner County Courthouse started to fall in disrepair, they had the same thing we did, only they had records in the attic and the basement. And so they actually came because the ones in the basement were starting to degrade. And they actually offered to take them, but ultimately it would be the commissioner's decision as to whether or not they would. So they just come over, offer an opinion. They can even offer suggestions on how to take better care of them.
Probably wouldn't be terrible idea.
But yeah, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Jamie and Nicole have been working up there periodically because they have to go up there and research different things. And so they just started organizing it so it'd be easier to do their research, but it's made a big difference. But there's still quite a bit of mess up there that needs to be taken care of. 12712, State Record Management Program to be established. The Commissioner of Human Resources and Administration shall establish within the organizational structure of the Bureau of Human Resources and Administration a record management program which will apply efficient economical management methods to the creation, utilization, maintenance, retention, preservation, and disposal of state records. So that is where we got that record retention manual. And there's one for auditors, sheriffs, 4-H directors, emergency managers. I was trying to think of the one that was missing. That surprised me, but anyway, it's there. And that was it. That was it for today. Because the next law talks about a fund to support that project, so we don't need to know about that. So any questions that you would have on that particular lesson? If you don't mind, I'd like to take a recess in November from doing this because we're going to have other stuff to occupy that agenda. And then we'll pick this up again in the future.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty good. Required to decision from November to the next November.
Riveting. Dan wants me to convey to you that she is very grateful that you guys are taking this seriously and sitting through my monotone reciting of these statutes.
That's good for us.
It'd help if there was
Learning
more,
every
if
day.
there was more pictures.
Pictures would be good, wouldn't it?
That'd make it worse.
You know, I'll work on that.
It's good in moderation.
Thank you.
I mean,
I got an excuse not to.
nice to go through them,
It is.
honestly.
It is. It's good for me too, because then I'm like, I know this is, but yeah. The biggest issue, like we had a small group discussion, a couple of auditors, is that because this lesson isn't taught across all of the different agencies within the county, you know, like, I don't know if the 4-H directors sit down and have a discussion about this, or do the state custodians do it, you know? And that's part of the problem, is that it's not uniformly taught to everybody. And that's why they want us to police each other, I guess. So I have some minutes for you. I have the minutes from September 2nd, which was a regular meeting, and September 24, which was a special meeting.
Motion to approve September 2nd and September 24th.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of September 2nd and 24th. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
As far as reports to the commission, you have the emergency manager's report, fourth quarter, that would be the end of their fiscal year federally, and it requires a signature but not a motion. The treasurer's report of property taxes collected. There is the list of current building permits, the financial reports for the preceding month out of the registered deeds office, and then the library board puts their minutes on their website. So this link just takes you to their website. So Hannah and I decided that instead of both of us doing this process over, we can just link them that way. Then your overtime and regular hours report is there. On the consent agenda, we have just the one item, which is to approve the bills that were presented today.
I move we can approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Are you giving the motion to Luke or to Greg?
I
Greg?
gave it to Greg, I guess, I didn't even hear.
I heard them both.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
As far as correspondence, the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, who provides our liability coverage, produces their annual report. So if you want to see that and see how solvent or insolvent it is, it's solvent. You can click that link, go to their website, and look at that particular report. The importance that you see there is if we had a large liability claim, knowing with certain confidence that they can support paying those claims for us with the money they've accumulated. The request for executive session, one was for Will Page to discuss personnel. I told him that I could take care of that so that he didn't have to come up here. And then Dan, do you still need the one? Okay.
Motion to move to executive session.
Second.
I have 319.
Motion and a second to enter executive session for personnel and legal counsel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, make sure your microphones are off. And we'll shut off over